Who's Will Henderson?
Hey, look at that.
it
Oh, praise the Lord. Oh, thank you.
worked. It
Thank you,
worked.
Jesus.
It worked.
Thank you. So, hey, everyone, very sorry for the delay. But, it may not surprise you, but I don't got this all the way down just yet. These technical difficulties, despite my upgrades of the equipment, it still happens. Some bitch. But hey, everybody, I'm joined now with my good friend Charles Nelson of Nelson Greenbrier Distillery. Welcome.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Well,
Yeah.
actually, thank you for being here.
Yeah, that's right.
Rather,
I am actually on your property. So if anything happens here, it's under your liability insurance versus mine, right?
That's why you did this.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
that's true. That's true.
Oh
Not
man.
that's not why I did it though. So we have a pretty cool thing. What I'm doing here is we've got some things to taste, and it's not really in your wheelhouse to taste outside of your stuff. So
It's okay.
you down for this?
I'm a whiskey drinker, so
So tell us about your family goes way back. Tell us about your distilling family.
Yeah, so my family started my business, Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery. It was
Mm-hmm.
originally started by my great grandfather, who I don't want to. It's a long story, so if I go on for too long, we'll be here till tomorrow. Um, but Charles Nelson, my triple great grandfather, came over from Germany, nothing but the clothes on his back,
Right.
was one of the first to bottle and sell whiskey rather than selling it by the barrel or the jug. Bought the distillery that was producing his whiskey, expanded it, became
Mm-hmm.
one of the largest distilleries in the country, by far the largest in Tennessee.
Okay.
He produced the original Tennessee whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
He also produced Bellmead bourbon. We're using like the original label for Bellmead. He shut down because of prohibition, statewide prohibition in 1909.
Right.
And then my brother and I have been working the last 13 years to resurrect the company.
Now, was your grandpa like? Did you was he like as tall as you guys?
So I actually have a copy of like his passport, and it was pretty interesting. He was not. He was like 5'3".
Wow.
And it was also interesting just because they didn't have a picture on his passport, so it like described his brow and the shape of his nose and his lips and his chin and his ears, and it was pretty interesting. But I get the height from my mom's side.
Okay. Well, so if we run out of photo stuff, we're going to go back to describing chins and
Yeah.
so forth. Hey, if anybody has a question for Charles throughout the night, make sure you put it out there. He is totally going to answer it for you, and if not, then he'll get you back later. He's got this guy's been he's one of the more impressive people to me in terms of the young people running businesses. So I'm very proud of you for what you have
Thank you.
done. You've really come on. One of Charles' mentors was our mutual friend Dave Pickerel.
Yeah.
Tell everyone about the little sandwich story that you got, because I love this story.
Oh, you mean the breakfast sandwich?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
breakfast sandwich.
So when we were first starting out and trying to build the business, I don't have very many short stories, by the way, Fred.
No.
So you know this about me.
That's all
So be
right.
careful when you ask me a question
They're used to
or
the
just share
long-winded
a
stuff.
story.
So
But yeah, Dave was like family to me and to my family. And when he left Makers, and then we were his second client
mhm.
after he left Makers, and he worked with another distillery, then he was working with us, and we wanted to bring him on full time. We could only afford to pay him for 3 months, and we thought that we were going to raise all the money that we needed in 3 months. Well, getting towards the end of that 3 months, and I think actually in the fourth or fifth month, when we were out of money, but he was continuing to work with us. He stayed at my parents' house a couple
Mhm.
times, and like my mom made him what she used to make for us, my brother and I, which was a riff on an egg McMuffin, but she called him an egg McMommy.
Mhm.
uh you know you can laugh all you want, but they're delicious.
Nice mommy.
Yeah. And so anyway, he stayed at our house a couple times, and then I went up and stayed at his place, and as we were like working on business plans and stuff like that, and he was just a huge help. And to repay the favor, he wakes me up in the morning. He's like, Charlie, I've got a breakfast for you, and he was like, it's an egg McPick. So he made his own riff of the breakfast sandwich, the egg McPick.
See, and
So
everybody, that's why like that's why like whiskey is like so near and dear to my heart, is because it's not always just about the product, it's about the people. And you get stories like, you cover this business, you get a lot of stories like this. So thanks for always sharing, those
yeah,
fun inside
yeah.
stories. So we have any questions for you here? A lot of compliments coming in for you. A lot of folks saying that you're doing good stuff, like Doug over there saying like you're doing good things with the products and the finishing. It is true. Like your honey
Thank you.
barrel is off the charts. In fact, you brought your honey barrel.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and taste that first.
Okay. Yeah. So we're actually going to be releasing this guy on March 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
That's
all right?
You can do that. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. So this is cask strength. This
Just a little touch there.
This one's 115.1 proof. So
Oh, that's like water.
yeah. So and you know about this, that the process and everything.
Well, I do, but maybe not everybody at
Oh
home.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah.
we're not just talking just the two of us. I guess there's other people out here
Yeah.
that might care. So what we've done, we like to experiment with some of our cask finishing. So what we've done is there's a honey producer outside of Nashville called True Bee Honey. And they age some of their honey in our barrels, and then we get some of those barrels back after they dump the honey out, and we finish bourbon in those barrels. So pretty simple. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's the basic story. So
but this wasn't like something that you actually set out to do. It kind of came as like a
right
surprise, right?
Yeah. So we gave True Bee some of our barrels, and then they came back after they had aged their honey in it. We tasted their honey; it was amazing. And they're like, "Hey, do you guys want these barrels back?" And we're like, "Nah, you keep." Actually, yes, we do. Please give us these barrels. We'd love to have them. And so I think it was either one or two at first, and then we're like, "Well, why don't we just fill some of Phillies with bourbon?" And so we did at first, and then we realized that I'm gonna butcher. So it's honey is like hydro. No, I forget the term, but it basically like it sucks the water out of the wood, and so it basically shrinks the wood and shrinks the barrels, and so
like coming out of the pool.
yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. But a little bit different. Same, but different. So when we first filled the barrels, they had shrunk, and so we had some leakers, and so we had to figure out how to solve that problem and not let all the whiskey just.
I remember when you gave me the first sample of this, I was like, "Holy shit, it was really good." And I had just written my mead book, and I was like,
"Oh yeah, that's right."
I was all into honey at the time.
Yeah.
So let's get this is the new batch. Got some people already asking for me to snag them a bottle of that.
Yeah. So we're releasing
hydrophilic, by the way.
Is it hydrophilic?
Someone put that there.
That might be right. Yeah. I always say hydrophobic, but hydrophobic would mean that you're afraid of water, right? So I don't think
that sounds right.
Honey's afraid of water. Sounds like something I would say about girlfriend or something.
Your girlfriend's afraid of water?
No, she's not. She loves water.
So that's like this one is less honey forward to me than the first one.
What's that?
This feels like this is the second release.
I think this is actually the third.
Oh, so this is the third release. Okay. So this is less honey barrels over and over.
So we've got 4 barrels this time.
Okay.
So they're all 4 a little bit different, and they're all different proof. I think the first time we did 1 barrel, then the second 2 barrels, and now we've got 4 barrels. Don't quote me on that. I'm just the sales and marketing guy. My brother's the production and operations guy. So he makes it all and I sell it.
Well, if he screws it up,
but
though, we blame him,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
duh.
And if you screw up, you can blame him because he didn't give you the right product.
Exactly. So it's never my fault.
Yeah.
He does all the hard work. I take all the credit and he gets all the blame if there's anything.
That is the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the way to do
you
it.
know.
You know, I remember one time you sent me a bottle. I don't remember what it was, but you called me and said, "Hey, did you get that bottle?" I said, "Yeah, I was going to review it." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, let me know what you think of it." I was like, "Well, if I don't like it, I'm gonna let people know." Remember that? And
No.
and I said, "Okay, all right, I won't taste it then," because I could tell you were getting really nervous. You get really nervous when people taste your stuff.
Well, I get nervous, like, especially when we're doing something for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's, I like, I want to get professional opinions, but, and, to be honest, nothing that we've done uh, that we've released, at least, we haven't released anything that I haven't been just super proud of, and that I don't think anything's really fallen totally flat.
Well, that one's fucking good.
Yeah, it's
I like-
killer. This one,
And that's MGP whiskey going in there into the barrel.
Mhm.
So what is that like? Do you get like, do you like search through comments to see what people are thinking and stuff?
I used to.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't really have time anymore. But I mean, I'm interested to hear people's
You're
thoughts.
busy opening accounts and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You're going
and traveling, training distributors, and
I bet you go into a bar. You're like walking, and then you see this bar over here, and you're like, "Why is that motherfucker carrying my whiskey?"
Yeah, I mean,
And then you go in there, and you're like, "What do I got to do to get my whiskey in here?"
well, I mean, something like that. I think that everybody should carry our products, of course.
So you come in like, "Hey, this is my 45. Why is it Bellamide in here?"
You mother. No, I mean, shoot, we're selling everything that we can get out the door at this point. So I
Good for you.
I can't really blame.
Did you bring your Tennessee whiskey to taste?
We should have.
I'll tell you what. Make sure you guys get some questions.
I'll go grab some.
All right.
Do you want me to go grab it right now?
Yeah, go grab one if you want to taste it, and I'll get all these other ones ready. And I'll talk to everybody out here.
Bellmead Nelson. What's that?
That's you. Yeah.
KC. Yeah, we're. I was just there. We just changed distributors there. We've got a distributor, major brands. They're going to be covering more of the market. We're growing in KC.
So remember, like people will also be listening later. So just like repeat the question when you get something.
Oh yeah, someone said need more Bellmead in KC. I'm guessing Kansas City. So Missouri. I'm guessing you're talking about Kansas City, Missouri. We're not in Kansas.
Well, maybe
yet.
it's Kansas City, Kansas.
I guess
I understand. That's where the Kansas City Chiefs are.
Well, we to be fair, we are going to be going into Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay.
Before too long, and but we're already distributed in Missouri and growing there.
All right. So this is
Kansas City, Missouri. That's what they're. Yeah.
So this is a 14-year-old source whiskey. Now
right.
So do you remember the time when people were taking the?
Smells like popcorn and peanuts to me. Delicious. I love popcorn and I love peanuts.
So it's distilled in Tennessee.
Okay.
And
what's
bottled,
this brand?
BC Merchants is the parent company. It's called Resilient.
Cool. I haven't had this before.
Like, I'm resilient. You took away my cookie, but I'm resilient. I'm fighting through it. Well, I mean, it does have that kind of like movie theater kind of snacky thing.
Yeah. I mean,
make sure you're subscribing too for more movie theater snacky things. Have you ever snuck whiskey into a movie theater, by the way?
Never.
I always do. I'll have like 2 flasks in there.
Okay, I lied. I have.
I think a good movie is more enjoyable with a flask of whiskey.
Yeah, I went to a movie on Valentine's Day. I thought it was going to be funny.
Did
It
you have
was
to watch a love movie?
it was a Will Ferrell movie,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
it's
thought
not
like I
funny.
didn't know anything about it. Well, to be fair, I'd had a few Bellmead bourbons beforehand, and I did kind of fall asleep halfway through. But I mean, the chairs it was at Hollywood 27
Mhm.
here, and the chairs were all recliners.
Oh,
It was
nice.
amazing,
Nice.
and had a bunch of popcorn and some Sour Patch Kids, and then I fell asleep halfway through.
Mm,
Yeah, it's good.
this is really good. So this is obviously source Dickel, or that's my assumption it's source Dickel. But this would be
It's
one of
good.
the better like. Doesn't have any of those Flintstone vitamin notes in there. It's like it's balanced. Actually, I get a lot of apple in this.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
I get a lot of apple in this.
yeah.
And definitely, it's
Like
nutty.
caramel apple,
Oh yeah, give me some of that.
candy caramel apple.
Oh, so
It's
here
good.
we go. Here's a question from Will Henderson. Is there a plan to move away from the sourced to producing it all in house? Now you do distill. You've been distilling since 2012,
2014.
2014.
Yeah. Is for Bell Mead, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
Will. Uh, yeah, that's the ideal goal. Right now we're currently distilling here on this property. We're also still working with MGP, and we also work with Bardstown Bourbon. We were actually Bardstown Bourbon's first client.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And we're working on plans for building a much larger facility. So the goal is to eventually be able to produce it all in house.
And here's the thing too: is you have a lot of tourists coming through here. This is a
Totally.
highly tourist. In fact, when I walked in, somebody shushed me as I was like trying to get through the door, like one of your customers. I was like, "Lady,
Do
I'm
you
trying."
know who I am?
No, I didn't do that. I was like, "You see all this equipment I have," and I was carrying it, and I made the call
Yeah.
to like get let in, and she's like, "Shh." I was like, "Good God."
Yeah, we're kind of bursting at the seams and we don't have enough room to hold everybody. So like sometimes there'll be two tours going on
Mm-hmm.
in the same area. So we're trying to keep like, trying not to have competing voices and everything. We're working on expanding the
next-
facility.
So
So
if you walk through the Nelson Greenbrier doors, just make sure you don't talk because you might get shushed. All right, so let's go to the next product of yours. So we have the sherry. Now, you know my favorite sherry cask of yours was the one you did with Jack Rose.
Oh man.
Good.
That was the first cask strength sherry cask that we did.
And I have to tell you. So on my podcast, I shared this with you. So
Cheers.
on my podcast, where I'm interviewing musicians and pairing whiskeys to their palate, I actually paired the Jack Rose sherry cask finish of Vaseline, but I failed as a pair there. It was the only time. It was the only time I had done that.
It's okay. He was wrong. Everybody can be wrong once in their life.
Yeah, but he did. He also said he was a Fireball.
I was about
fan,
to say, yeah,
so I'm okay.
I don't expect a whole lot of Fireball fans to love a good sherry cask finished bourbon that's at cask strength,
So I think this is an important conversation to have. So finishing American whiskeys into like used barrels like this, it's under that distilled spirit specialty.
Yeah.
Should we be looking at this differently? Should we start to look at this as like elevating this from like bourbon finished in to like creating an entirely special category for it?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think it's certainly up for debate. There's more and more of these coming online. So, I mean, I'd certainly be open to that. Though, candidly, we are going to be probably we're growing our classic Bellmead and our reserve right now. So, like, and until we are able to expand our current facility and our capabilities, like just having so many different expressions, and changing out the bottling line every time that you change up go from bottling the classic Bell mead to the sherry cask to the cognac cask to the reserve, just stopping and starting all the time presents its challenges. But that's has nothing to do with your question.
Doesn't matter.
That's just a
Good
sort of,
information.
yeah, it's something that we're experiencing. We're growing at a pretty good clip right now, and so that's just a part of growth is learning and trying to simplify and narrow the focus.
So this is what release is this?
So this was, I think we did this just in our gift shop.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So this is a select cask.
yeah.
I feel like the sherry isn't as prominent as previous sherry barrels of yours.
Mhm.
It's
I
actually,
agree. It may have been like the second use. It's also, this one's a little bit higher proof than
116 proof.
yeah, it's a little higher like a lot of our select cask,
Mm-hmm.
single barrels are under 110, but
So I want to taste this one. This is a bourbon whiskey finished in Texas pecan wood, since
Cool.
we're on this whole finishing kick.
yeah,
Now, this is owned by Ed Bellflour.
I haven't had this one either.
Unfortunately,
I like that you're bringing out stuff that I've never had before.
that's what I'm trying to do here for America.
Yeah.
So Ed is
You're a good American, Fred.
Ed's in the National Hockey League Hall of Fame, or the NHL Hall of Fame. He was a Hall of Fame goalie
Go Preds.
for like the Stars, and hell, he played for everyone, but he just got busted for public intoxication.
Oh, really?
And TMZ picked up the video and played it, and it's like, I don't know what's going to happen to the guy. Like
Like this just recently happened.
This just recently happened,
and he just released the whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, he released the whiskey first, and he got picked up in Bowling Green. And
What's he doing in Bowling Green?
He's starting a distillery there.
Okay.
And he got, or he's looking at it, but it's just a horrible circumstance because we're in this business, and it happens. Sometimes you have too much, and it just it breaks my heart because I like seeing new people come to the scene. And all that,
and do well.
And my thoughts are with Ed and his and his crew, and that everything gets worked out there. And I hope they're able to continue it, because this, I think, is
this is cool.
This is an interesting addition to American whiskey. Finishing in pecan wood is not normal.
Yeah, no, it's can I?
Yeah.
So finish with Texas pecan wood, the spirit of champions. It's a cool bottle too. It's like
I mean, this almost has got a little scotchy kind of flavor to it.
A little bit. Yeah, it's cool. It's good. There's it's got a little sweetness to it too.
A little chocolate bitterness.
A little nuttiness. I guess that. What do you say? Pecan.
Pecan. When I'm in Georgia, I say pecan. But I pick up the accent wherever I am.
You ever eat boiled peanuts?
I boil peanuts all the time now. Mm-hmm.
So I used to go with my grandmother. Lived in Florida, in Tampa, and so we would, one of our family vacations every year would be to drive down to Tampa from Nashville, and we would stop at gas stations in Georgia. And when I was really little, I remember going inside while my dad's pumping gas into the tank, and I gotta go to the bathroom and run into the gas station, and there's this guy. As I'm coming out, I ran in, and then I'm walking out, and I'm looking maybe to buy a pack of bubble gum or something, and there's this guy like standing in front of like a kettle of boiled peanuts, and he only had a couple of teeth, and he said to me, he was like, "Hey boy, you want some boiled peanuts?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And so I ran outside. I was like, Dad. I was like, I don't know, 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that.
You're
I might have been 10.
stranger danger alarm went off.
Yeah. So I thought that he was asking me if I wanted boiled penis, which was not the case. My dad just started cracking up, and he knew what I was, what the guy was trying to say, and he went in and actually
I
bought
thought
some
you were
boiled
about to
peanuts.
say. I thought you were going to say that you thought he was trying to sell you bull penis.
Oh yeah, no,
But a boiled penis is worse.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's worse.
So I mean, because that interpretation can go many ways.
Yeah, they're all. I
mean,
yeah,
there ain't no good one.
yeah. Rocky Mountain oysters. I'd probably.
No, I did eat those.
Yeah,
we had in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We had this little place called Tumbleweed that did.
That's cool.
Did a thing called the cat fry.
The cat fry.
Cat fry, and they had a lot of them. All right, so we do have a few questions here. Actually, no, they're just comments. So, all right.
Someone asked if Bellmead does a rye.
That comes from Weird Geek.
We have been laying down barrels of rye, but we have not started selling it yet. So we'll see.
Now here we go. Now this is from one of your sister distilleries, part of the Constellation family.
Yeah,
High West. It's a bourbon and rye blend that they call BouRye. I've tasted this. I've tasted this actually.
I love this product.
2 times, and this, when I know you know this about me, I will taste 3 times before I score something.
Is this the most recent batch?
Yeah, this is the one that's not even out yet.
Dude, I haven't tried this yet. This batch.
Oh, let's get some questions here. Josh Shans asks, ever tried Wood Hat Spirits Twin Timber Bourbon, finished in charred pecan barrel? Super good.
Dude,
Josh, I have not tasted that. Yeah, I know. It's amazing. So
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
I've already had it.
Really good. That's really good. Wood Hat. I really want to try Wood Hat.
Okay.
That does sound cool.
So this is my 3rd time tasting this, and I'm going to say it right now, but this is a whiskey of the year contender.
Wow. I mean, this is delicious.
This is one of the best things I've tasted all year.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's complex. It's a caramel bomb, and underneath that, you've got all these incredible like spices. And then on the tip of the tongue, the vanilla just kind of keeps popping. Boom, 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 boom. While all that other stuff is going on. This, I wanna curl up with this next to the fire.
Oof, I was thinking the same thing. Fred, is that our night tonight?
Are we gonna curl up together? I mean, stranger things have happened.
Golly, this is really good. Yeah.
Some bitch.
What proof is that? Like 96 or something?
Yeah.
Or 92? Yeah.
That holds up for 92, unlike any other 92 proof I've ever had.
It's just rich, the depth. I mean, there's like.
You know what that is? That is pure blending talent.
Yeah. I mean, that's
pure blending talent.
So Brendan and his team at High West are just, they're so good.
Oh my God.
They do such a good job. I mean, that's, I think why they were, Distiller of the Year in, I don't know, a few years ago. But they do an amazing job of blending.
Yeah. I mean,
and also they've got some really fun, cool stuff that's just delicious that I'm not sure if it's out yet. I don't know if I can talk about it or not yet.
Well,
I better not say
anything. We got
anything.
Ourselves a little bit of breaking news here. Charles Nelson, you have the floor.
No.
Okay.
BouRye.
Notice we're not putting this. Go check out Bellamy, Nelson Greenbrier, Charles Nelson on all the Twitters and socials.
At Bellmead BRBN, at Nelson's Greenbrier, at NGB Distillery.
You got a lot of handles.
Yeah, I know. Well, we've got our like distillery brand, we've got our Tennessee whiskey brand, we've got our Bellmead bourbon brand. We've also got our Louisa's liqueur brand,
Oh yeah,
which is
Louisa's
a
liqueur.
coffee caramel pecan,
A
pecan,
little bit of that pecan pie.
whatever you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Gosh darn. Now
yeah,
I won't make yours be the one to follow up that one.
yeah. Right.
So we're gonna do the next. We're gonna do the resilient 15-year-old, also coming out of Tennessee.
Really. Wait, the first one we tried was resilient too, right?
Yeah, it was a 14-year-old.
Okay.
So basically, I guess similar barrels or similar batches, just a year apart. This is big brother of the two.
How big are your batches?
This guy, I don't think his batches are that big.
I don't know. I just like to.
Oh no, this is a
say
single
that.
barrel.
Oh,
Yeah, barrel 60. Yeah, I will
it's got a
say
little bit of that.
what I do really like about this. Take a look
Nice
at that
nose.
label. That label has all the details on there.
Yeah,
That
got the mash bill.
it's got everything.
Wow.
So kudos to Brian Sisk, who's
Wait, what was the proof on it?
This is
Everything but the proof. Oh, no, there it is.
107.
107 proof.
Yeah, that is funny. You get all those. Like, yeah, I love it. Like, where's the proof? That's the only federal thing you got to put on there.
No, it's on there. You can see it. I need glasses.
And I have them. I need better ones. So what I love about what he is doing is that he's putting everything on the label, and that's great. I think more people should do that.
It's good.
Yeah,
I love whiskey.
Right? I feel like whiskey could solve the world's problems if we just sat down and had a glass together.
I mean, whiskey built America.
By God.
And America's solving the world's problems
every day.
Right. So, yeah, I mean,
we do have to taste another one of yours. Get those questions in here. The question came, one from Web Geek here. What's that one called? We got resilient here. Is the one that they were trying to find out. So what do you want to taste now from your side?
So we've done the honey, we've done the sherry cask. Do you want to try the? My favorite's actually the Mourvedre cask.
Oh, I love the Mourvedre cask.
We only have. I mean, as you can see, there's only a tiny bit of it left.
Yeah.
This isn't my favorite batch, but it's still.
And we
really
also
good.
need to taste your Tennessee.
Yeah, I need to grab that.
Yeah. You can't text someone. There's no one left.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
A little bit of Tennessee whiskey.
Let's see.
So I was out here for a charity, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the guy who brought me in was a sponsor for this convention going on in town, and I ended up doing a lot of interviews with artists for my show, and I got to see a private Garth Brooks concert.
Nice.
Last night, and it was
here
in Nashville in the Omni.
Thanks for the invite.
Well, like I got it like last second, and I had front row seat. It was amazing. It was amazing.
That's cool. How many people were there?
Maybe 100, 150.
Wow. That's funny. So you saw Garth Brooks last night, private show. I saw Luke Bryan last night. I got to meet him. He's a super nice guy. Yeah. He was doing like his beer launch.
How do you feel about that? Would you work with a celebrity to do a whiskey? Or do you think it's
maybe?
lame?
I mean, I like celebrities are people too. But like I don't know. I mean, we've been approached and have not wanted to do anything. Like, the story for our company and our brand is so rooted in like my family and my brother and I, and so like, we think it's important. Like,
You all are the celebrities.
well, I mean, you know, I wouldn't really say that, but
All right,
but
I will.
um,
I think that you all have. That's the wrong one.
you want to go with the black bell?
Well, where's the Movedra?
The Movedra
All
is
right,
right
there.
there. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna break this down for you.
I love this.
This has like a film, like that you put it on your palate, and it has like a film coming over all over your mouth. It's like it spreads. And I noticed this the first time I ever tasted one of these. It gets on your palate and it kind of like spreads all around, like even after you've swallowed, it just kind of keeps moving around.
Yeah.
And so it makes me wonder if there's not aliens like involved, like trying to like tap into your brain or something. But no,
So-
I'm kidding.
We're actually getting a few more barrels of the Movedra.
Those are hard to get.
Coming. Yeah. So we're getting some. They were supposed to arrive, I think, today, but they're coming next week, I think. So
Nice.
we get them from the Withers Winery, and they're friends of ours, and they have some beautiful barrels. Some of the most, I think, special, beautiful barrels
Nice.
that you can get. But
So
you want me to go grab
yeah,
the
let's
Tennessee whiskey?
get that, yeah, and then get a fresh glass,
Yeah, I'll get a couple new glasses,
and then I'll talk behind your back while
Yeah.
you're gone.
Don't talk shit.
Never. So he's gonna go get his Tennessee whiskey. Now this is something that he distilled and barreled and aged here, and I know he's sweating in his boots right now because he does not necessarily. He's someone who's so prideful, but also so like nervous about like that about that review. And Charles is he's salt of the earth, great human being, and his uncle was actually Super Dave. So the famous Super Dave who had passed away some time ago, or about a year ago, I guess. He was he was uh it was his uncle. And here we come. Here he comes down the stretch. It's Charles Nelson coming in with the glass and two bottles. Right behind him is Big Brown. I secretly want to be like a horse collar.
So,
Got the original label on there.
did you tell them all about it, Fred?
Well, I told them a little bit about how nervous you're probably going to be about me sipping this, whether or not I like it.
Well, this is a little bit younger than everything that we've been tasting, but so this is, like the original label, original recipe. We even took like a 3D scan of an original bottle, and that's how we got this mold. And so
Wow.
we added some embellishments to it, thickened up the base a little bit, and added like Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery at the bottom, and then the DSP5. It's hard to see here, but and then DSP5 on the back of the label or back of the bottle, because back in the day we were known as Old Number 5 because we were originally registered Distillery Number 5,
Yeah.
which the federal government recognized, and it's a wheated Tennessee whiskey.
A wheated
And
Tennessee whiskey.
It's about 75% 4 and 5-year-old and 25% 2 and 3-year-old. Only available in Nashville right now. When we go national, it'll all be 4 to 5-year-old.
Okay.
So
this is going through the mellowing process before it goes into the barrel.
Correct. Yeah. So it's filtered through sugar maple charcoal. We're not super aggressive with our charcoal mellowing. It's 91 proof. My father passed away in 1891. So everything that we do, we're trying to,
So
have
if you
behind.
wanted to, could you call this bourbon? Could you put bourbon on the label if you wanted to?
Yes.
So there you have it, folks. A Tennessee whiskey distiller just said that if he wanted to, he could call it bourbon. Tennessee whiskey
But if I didn't charcoal mellow it, I couldn't call it Tennessee whiskey.
Right.
And if I didn't distill it in Tennessee, I couldn't call it Tennessee whiskey. So
Just like you couldn't call Tennessee, which for a long time there was a distiller trying to like making bourbon here in Tennessee and trying to truck it down to Kentucky and call it Kentucky bourbon.
mm,
These things happen.
yeah,
Shenanigans.
yeah. But I think Tennessee whiskey is kind of like bourbon plus, not your magazine, but bourbon plus something.
Okay.
So
We have a great question in here from Wade Woodard, our buddy Wade. He asked, "Is it straight?"
yes, though it's not. So that's a good question. Actually, about having there's a debate as to whether you can even put straight on the label of Tennessee whiskey.
Really?
So, I don't even. Andy is much better at talking about that, about the um, intricacies of the law and TTB and labeling. So Wade, I think you should ask Andy. I think Andy.
But that's another way of you being able to blame your brother
Yeah,
if something
exactly.
doesn't work out. So
Yeah,
this is a good method for
yeah,
you. Just like it, when you just blame your brother.
yeah.
But you could, like, if you wanted to, you could put straight on the label.
Yes.
And by virtue,
my understanding of the law is that yes.
But also by virtue of like the state law, right? It has to be straight bourbon to be Tennessee whiskey, correct? Or is it
so? Well,
I haven't read the Tennessee state laws in a while.
It's a little bit unclear because there are state laws.
Well, damn, this is good.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting in a debate on like laws and everything, but
someone asks, is it charcoal filtered? Yes, it is filtered through sugar maple charcoal. Is this available now? Yes. It is available only in Nashville currently. Starting March 1st, we will be available in East Tennessee in the Knoxville market. If you don't add up to
damn, this is actually really good. So I'm going to put this in like two flavor categories. This has got a little bit of praline action on it, and it's got a little bit. Now, here's the funny thing: they're using wheat, but I get kind of like a pumpernickel rye, like a toasted pumpernickel rye.
That might be from some of those like 2 and 3, like that's might be coming from some of the more youthful barrels.
Well,
but.
You should be. You should be proud of this.
And it's also high malt con. It's about almost 15% malted barley. So, which historically you needed to use more malted barley back in the day because of the enzymes, because you didn't have as much, enzymes to add in. And by the way, someone asked if there's any plans to distribute Bell Mead in New England. Yes. Sometime in this year.
But you're going to have special packaging there, right?
What do you mean?
Like a deflated football?
Hey, I've been hearing rumors that Tom Brady is interested in coming to play for the Titans. So I'm a Titans fan, so I want to ease up for a second. Though, hey, Ryan Tannehill is the man. He kicked ass for us this year.
Yeah, I mean that is typical NFL though. Like someone does something really, really well for you, and you get the guy off of the, who's 42 or whatever, and, to replace him. I mean, look, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, arguably.
I'm a little worried.
But you do not like Tannehill has got the youth. He's got it. And he's got the system. Yeah. He's got that locker room. I don't think you put Tom Brady in there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. If Michael Jordan wanted to come back and play in the NBA, I guess he might be able to score a few points, but
he could.
Do you really want to take him as your?
Yeah, he can still play, but he's got 5 minutes in him a game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But like when he was came and played for the Wizards,
right?
I
mean, you remember that block that he had where he just took it off the backboard?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Michael Jordan was the
I
GOAT.
hated Michael Jordan because I was a Lakers fan. I was a Magic Johnson fan, and now
So
anyway.
you brought up L.A. Talk about your uncle Super Dave, Bob,
Mm,
Uncle Bob.
yeah. So my uncle. What do you want to say?
Dad,
Uh, sorry.
a lot of people don't know this about you, but
Yeah.
your uncle was the very famous Super Dave.
Yeah, so my uncle, Bob, I know him as Bob Einstein. He was Super Dave Osborne. He got his start. Uh, he was he was one of the original writers for the Smothers Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And God, I mean, he was just a funny guy. He was a comedian's comedian, and his dad was a comedian. He was Park Ya Carcass on the radio, and I mean, like best friends with like Milton Berle, and um, yeah. So he married my aunt, my mom's sister, and yeah, he was Super Dave Osborne. He was on a lot of the late shows. He had a cartoon on Saturday mornings. He was Marty Funkhauser
That's how I knew him
on
best.
Curb,
Yeah.
and he was good buddies with like Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry Seinfeld actually spoke at his funeral, which was you know in a weird way like the funniest funeral I've ever been to. Um, but yeah, he was just a funny. I mean, like, and his actually an interesting thing. So his brother was Albert Brooks, and so Albert Brooks, his real name was Albert Einstein,
That
and when
that's
and so my dad worked in the movie business for 25 years, something like that, and he worked with Albert Brooks a couple times, and they became friends. And my dad would talk to him on the phone all the time, and they would talk on the phone for like an hour, and my dad would be like, "Oh, so what'd you do today?" And then he'd just be laughing hysterically for like 20 minutes, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, then what?" He'd be like, just laughing for another 20 minutes, and I mean, he would just uh, you know I guess Albert was a pretty funny guy. It still is. But
well. Thanks for
anyway,
sharing that because I think that's one of the things that about you that you have this whole world about you that people don't know. So it's good to show that. And
yeah,
Uncle Bob, as you knew him, or
yeah,
Super Dave, as the rest of the world knew him.
yeah,
He was a good guy.
yeah. He was. He was a really good guy.
So what do you want to finish this? What do you want to toast with here? And we got a
Um,
question coming in here. We got from Louis Keene or Lewis Keene.
yeah, super
Mr. Nelson, is there a desire to add production equipment at the original Nelson Greenbrier Distillery? That is a great question.
Yeah, there is a desire for sure. It would be very challenging though. So back in the day, there were actually three facilities for the distillery. So we had an office, warehouse, and bottling facility downtown Nashville, big time production facility in Greenbrier, Tennessee. Sure. Um, and then another office, warehouse, and bottling facility in Louisville at 100
Mhm.
East Main Street. Um, so, um, uh, anyway, the original property is actually listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and the same family that bought the land from my family still owns it. In order to do what we would want to do on that property, we would have to buy a bunch of houses. It's surrounded by a bunch of residential property. So we would have to buy a bunch of houses, tear them down, build new roads, and like just to before we can even get started, we're looking at millions and millions of dollars. So it just doesn't make a whole lot of business sense. We do have some land, not on the original property, but in Robertson County. That
Got your whiskey there.
yeah,
One th-
right here.
I think that's it. You gave me a glass, right?
What is this?
The BouRye.
BouRye.
So
This is killer.
thanks for hosting me. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming on. And
cheers.
thanks to you all to tuning in. and apologize for the early difficulties from a production perspective. But make sure you are subscribing to the YouTube channel and checking out all of Charles's stuff.
Oh, there's Wade had a good.
We have
Good point.
one more coming in from Wade.
Well, so that's part of the question and the confusion, Wade. He says that there's no mention of straight. So is straight prohibited
Correct,
on
but
Tennessee whiskey?
there are treaties that mention Tennessee whiskey being a straight bourbon with the charcoal mellowing. So that is, in my opinion, my thoughts anyway, from a legal perspective. I'm not a lawyer,
Yeah.
and a lot of this really does comes down to a legal perspective. You need to have what we need to do is we need to make this an important enough thing. And by the way, this is like we're in the geek world at the moment.
Yeah.
but we need to make this like an important enough conversation where we get lawyers and lawmakers at the table to discuss this. And I don't know if enough of those people care.
Yeah.
But it's in the NAFTA agreement. It's in the Australian agreement. Everywhere you go, it says straight bourbon whiskey in Tennessee with the charcoal mellowing.
There is no reason, in my opinion, why we should not be able to put straight on our label for Tennessee whiskey. It qualifies as straight, but it depends really on who you talk to with the TTB, and that's part of the challenge. So anyway, thanks for bringing that up, Wade.
Wade is always one to bring up a good label law. My man Wade, go to the bar exam and become a lawyer and fix all this stuff for us.
Yeah.
My man. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for your time. Make sure you're subscribing once again and checking out all of Charles's stuff. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
My man.
Thank you.